Joining us on Cowboy State Daily is Cheyenne's own E.T., Eric Trowbridge. He's CEO of Array, that's Wyoming's Technology and Design School. Eric will be a guest speaker at the Silicon Slopes Tech Summit in Salt Lake City on the 31st of this month. More than 20,000 folks from the tech industry worldwide will be there. What an honor, Eric.
I know, it's really, I'm just still humbled and happy and overwhelmed. I'm also a little nervous. You know, this is potentially the largest opportunity I've had to speak in front of people, and just also knowing what I'm talking about, you know, which is obviously the challenges and benefits of doing technology in the rural America. Obviously, Wyoming being kind of one of the kingpins of what rural America is, and like, so it's just, I'm just incredibly honored to have been asked to be.
You got about 3 weeks to write your speech.
Yes.
What's the message?
You know, I think the message is that technology can work in rural America. It's a very different animal than doing technology in big cities like Denver, San Francisco. Some of those challenges being, you know, obviously in the big cities, they've got cost of living issues and transportation. In rural America, like here in Wyoming and Cheyenne, obviously those things aren't there. We've got a better tax structure. However, the challenge that we have running technology in rural America is it's an ecosystem. You know, for technology to thrive, you have to have really smart people. You have to have people that understand computer science and programming and graphic design. And that's kind of hard to come by, you know, in states like Wyoming. But that's why I'm so passionate about Array, because there are people that want to learn about technology and to be able to run a school that takes people kind of from zero to hero. To get a footing into the tech industry is really exciting, and it's truly the work of my life.
So Eric, it's not just going out and recruiting a bunch of high-tech people. You have to have the amenities to go along with that, or they won't come? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And so I think, you know, one of the roles that, let's say, the state government can play is its number one mission should be to try to create the most fertile soil possible, so that when these seeds get planted, they grow into companies and entrepreneurship. You know, and so technology really is not only education, which is a backbone. It's also, which we have great taxes. We've got great quality of life and cost of living. We have great natural resources, you know, hiking and camping. The things I think that we're working on right now is like the cultural piece, you know, having young adults who are in the space for people who want to transition technology, being able to go see shows and go to restaurants and have that experience. That is all part of creating a thriving tech culture. So,
ecosystem is what
yes,
you refer to.
ecosystem, absolutely.
Let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, Wyoming technology, 10 being the highest, where are we now compared to, let's say, when Governor Meade took over in 2011? It's almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago.
You know, I would say just watching Wyoming, because I was working for Apple and in New York City and Chicago and LA. So watching Wyoming from outside in, and to kind of like being back here for 5 years and like seeing Governor Meade really kind of put some pressure that we need to create a fourth economy to sustain Wyoming's economic diversification. So currently it's kind of like we have a 3-legged stool, and we want to put a 4th-legged stool on there. So we have agriculture, we have tourism, obviously energy, and he really wanted to make Wyoming have technology be its fourth, because technology isn't going anywhere. It's a great industry to put your money into. I can't think of one industry that is either not being currently affected by technology or won't be affected by it. So I would say in the last 10 years, I would say about a 5 and a 6. It's actually, I think Wyoming's moving a lot faster than I thought it would. I think one of the things that got me really excited was the computer science initiative that happened in the legislature, I think back in 2017. We were one of the first, if not the first state in the country to require computer science being taught in all grade levels, K through 12. It's a huge burden. Obviously our teachers are already really busy, and you know that education piece, feeling comfortable teaching it, is there. So there's a lot of us that are working with the Department of Education and the legislator to make sure that when that goes live, I think 2021 or 2022, that's exciting. Like, that's the first of Wyoming. I think what I'm most also excited about is like when we think about our ancestors like 100 years ago, think about how many firsts Wyoming had, right? So, and when our friends and family come visit, we love to explain that. So we were the first state to obviously allow women to vote, first state to have a female governor, first state to have a national park system, Yellowstone, first state as a national monument, Devil's Tower. Cheyenne was the first city west of the Mississippi to get electricity, right? So our ancestors 100 years ago, they truly were pioneers. They were forward thinking, they were brave, courageous, and they took some risks. And so it's not about changing Wyoming, it's kind of tapping back into our roots, our DNA. Like, if you're a Wyomingite, or even if you're not a Wyomingite, but you're a transplant here, like, it is in our nature to be pioneers and drivers and cowboys and cowgirls. So just about tapping back into that. So I'm seeing a lot of exciting things happening in Wyoming that remind me back to what our ancestors were doing.
What happened? Did we decide?
That's exactly the question.
Did we get too comfortable?
I think we did. I think, it's like, that's the question I asked myself, like, what happened in that 80-year span? And I think, we got too comfortable. We didn't innovate. We just thought things were going to be the way that they were. And I think now we're starting to realize that we do have to not change, but again, tap back into that. And there's some exciting, like, Wyoming has all the ingredients to create an amazing state and a thriving tech culture. We just got to kind of like preparing a dish. Like, we have to have a great chef to be able to just balance the portion and the right amount of seasoning and spice. All the ingredients are on the table for Wyoming. Is how do we put it together to make an awesome Michelin star dish?
You talked about the 4 areas, and one was energy. In a perverse sort of way, the fact that fossil fuel energy is on the declines, at least for the foreseeable future. Is there some upside to that?
There is a little bit, yes, because I think, we've been talking about economic diversification for 30, 40 years now. And again, I think there's another accolade to former Governor Meade was, his grandfather, who was also governor, was trying to push it 30, 40 years ago. And Governor Meade really kind of emphasized that. And, him being the first governor when I came back to Wyoming, hearing a lot we was talking about. So yeah, I think that at the end of the day, as scary as it is, because we have to get off of it, because a lot of people get hurt when we go into that bus cycle, including our education system. People lose their jobs and they leave Wyoming. So it's kind of interesting that more people decide to live in Alaska and every single surrounding state, than Wyoming. And it's because this cycle of boom and bust it's scary. And so I think this is kind of forcing us to rethink how to diversify and actually get it done.
It's hard to do that, or it was hard to do that when the money's rolling in. You talk about it for domestic consumption.
Correct.
Because it sounds good, because I've covered a lot of elections over the last 3 years.
Yep.
That was one of the top, was how do you keep the young people here? But this anti-growth attitude seems to be peppered. Not prevalent around the state, but peppered just enough.
Yeah, like one sentence is kind of like putting nails on a chalkboard is, this is just the way we've always done it. So that whenever I hear that phrase out in public, this is the way we've always done it, because we're comfortable, we're a little scared to try something new. The world is changing at exponential rates, right? And so we have to also continuously reevaluate everything. So one of my favorite quotes too is, always ask why, or why are we doing it this way? Is there a better way of doing it? A lot of times I think Wyoming thinks that we have these very unique problems that are only our problems, like no one else in the world can solve Cheyenne's downtown parking issues or things like that. It's not true at all. It's every city of every size deals with their own issues, and so we need to reach out and say, hey, I'm sure someone has figured out how to do X, Y, and Z. I'm sure there's a great state out there somewhere that was in a similar position and they diversified their economy. Let's see what worked, what didn't work, and what can we bring to our state to make sure that we can keep it going.
Eric, if we don't get with the program, how detrimental is that?
Well, the thing is, it's really detrimental because I think also Governor Meade mentioned a couple of years ago at that time, like 60 or 65% of our 18 to 24-year-olds leave Wyoming. That's a problem, right? Our youth and our young adults.
Brain drain, right?
It's the brain drain that everyone talks about. And a lot of that has to do with the lack of diversification of jobs, right? So you graduate high school, you want to do technology. Okay, there's not that many tech jobs out there. There's not many places for you to go get trained, and so they go to larger cities because there's such a different variety of jobs and training programs. And so, yeah, a lot of it is because, since we don't have a diverse economy, we don't have diverse job growth either.
You went to Central High School, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
and you might have graduated in the 90s. A lot of those people that you graduated with, I think you're in your mid-30s.
Yes.
Are they gone?
Most of them are. Most of them are. Some of them have come back, and which actually, since I've been back, a bunch of my friends, so I graduated in 2004, so yeah, I'll be 35 this June. But it was kind of cool, like they went out and did things, experienced the big city life and culture, and then as they started getting ready to start families and stuff, realized just how great Wyoming is to raise families. And because there are families here, it's a lot easier to have grandma and grandpa around, to help with that. But they're now getting more involved, in the conversation and working on committees like EdgeFest, like they're coming back and they're getting involved. They're not just being complacent, and that's what everyone should do. Is instead of just going on Facebook and join a committee, look at the boards that are available, go to city council meetings, run for office. That's where true change really comes from. You have to get involved. So for me, it's like I try to spend as less time talking and just trying to do, and one of my favorite quotes too is from Gandhi. He said, the most powerful agent of change is you must be the change that you want to see in the world. So I can go and talk to anyone about what Wyoming should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, or how I feel about technology. But I spend so much time, like an array, is like I can talk about it all day, but if I don't build something that people go, wow, and have results that we are training them. They're getting jobs and they're getting good paying jobs. I have to do it. I want the actions need to speak for that. So that's kind of what I try to do here today, is to show it can be done. It's possible. I'm not a special magician person. I'm E.T. alien maybe, but I have to be the change, the example.
You told me 2021 you'll be back.
I did. Yeah, you had a little fun quote. I was like, oh, this is not the first time I've heard that. So yeah, I'm going back to Vega, the star system Vega, in about 2 years. So Earth's a very interesting place.
Well, the Tech Summit,
Yep.
the Silicon Slopes Tech Summit, which is at the end of this month.
Yep.
I know I got on their website, breakout groups, unbelievable parties. Are you going to try to recruit some people, tell them about the quality of life here, if they can? Would that be within your purview over there?
Absolutely. So as I'm kind of like figuring out what exactly I want to kind of talk about in technology in rural America, I mean, obviously I'm just so passionate about Wyoming, and I want people to know and walk away that Wyoming's doing some really forward-thinking things. Like, I'm sure that a bunch of those people going to the Tech Summit at the end of this month don't know that Wyoming was, the first or one of the first states to pass computer science. And they're like, that's great. Don't you want to have to be in a state like that, and also about all the cool things that are happening all around the state, not just Cheyenne. I mean, Casper's doing some amazing things. I mean, Jackson's Jackson. Jackson will always be Jackson. And so one of my passions too is, as a state, we only have what, 480? No, it's like just around half a million. Yeah, just about. And so we have to kind of have a new mentality also in Wyoming, where we have to stop eating our own. Right? We're not big enough yet as an entire state to be competing with each other. Competition is always good, but a lot of times it's like if Casper does something awesome, they have a new restaurant, like David Street Station is a beautiful addition to downtown Casper. We should be celebrating Casper. We should be promoting Casper, because that's also promoting Wyoming. I feel like sometimes there's a lot of competition, and it's like, no, we should all be thanking each other for doing great things. So then we get to go talk to people outside of Wyoming and say, this is why you should come live here, be an entrepreneur, start a company, start a family. There's so many reasons that we can work together on.
Former Governor Dave Freudenthal, we were at his unveiling of his portrait last week. And he said that we should be fortunate to be able to live here. I mean, 40 minutes from Cheyenne, you can go trout fishing. I mean, can you sell that?
Yes, I can sell that, and then I need to be also to sell all the other cultural things that are happening, and so there's just, the cool thing is, even in just the last year, there's more and more things that when I go and talk to other people or other tech companies, my list is getting longer as far as like, this is why you should come to Cheyenne, this is why you should go to Casper, just come to Wyoming, which is awesome. Like, things are definitely happening.
Eric Trowbridge.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, thanks for having me.
Summit, and we'll be following what you're saying.
Oh, gosh. Yes, I'm already looking forward to February 1st. When it's all over.
Remember, E.T.,
yes.
don't forget to phone home.
I won't do that, so won't forget. Thank you.